I turned 18 this past December, and adults always laugh when I say I feel old, but I do. I've been incredibly blessed to have lived the life I've had, but I've had my struggles too. Not that that's a rarity. If anything, 18 years is a long time to be homesick. That's what I've been, homesick. And yes, I do have an actual house, and no, I wasn't born in some faraway country or anything. For me, homesickness is a state of mind. I've never fitting in or feeling comfortable anywhere. I have made a fantastic extra through the highlight reels of everyone else's lives. I've never been a most or an est, smart but not the smartest, athletic but not the most athletic, kind but not the kindest, quiet but not the quietest, cynical and sarcastic, but not the most cynical and sarcastic. And the list could go on for hours. Not extraordinary in comparison by any stretch of the imagination. Especially in a school, in a community this size, one might think that the odds would be in someone's favor to find their niche. That's actually far from the truth. It's so hard to feel special or memorable or stand out when there's 1,000 other seniors alone who can step right up and fill your place. For years, this was a fear of mine. Along with being rejected by my peers for being myself, being forgotten was one of my biggest fears. So I built up walls, each putting forth a different mask to be presented to every group or person I interacted with. One Emily for school, one for soccer, one for church, one for friends, one for family, one for home, and so on. I spent so much time trying to be perfect and memorable for everybody else that I forgot who I was before I let others define me and tell me who I was. And people are so good at that. People can cut you down and trample you on the spot where you fall just to get ahead and without blinking an eye. And that's absolutely infuriating to me that we'll turn on each other like that even though we're all in the same boat. Think about it. Every single person you either seen, talked to, heard of, saw a picture of, no matter their age, race, gender, wealth, popularity, talent, relationship status, or religion, is fighting a battle that you don't know anything about. I learned the word Sonder my freshman year, which basically just describes the realization that every random passerby is living a life as vivid and as complex as your own. As complicated as you think your life is, with your beliefs and your relationships and your activities and the people you know, every single person in the world, in every country, is living a life just as complicated, with just as many facets as your own. That's difficult for us to wrap our minds around, and we don't like trying to diminish our significance in our minds by trying to do so. You'd think that if we did, we'd be a little more considerate of the people in our lives. It's so hard to try to remember that the people in your lives are going through struggles just like you are. It's so hard. It's all about me is the mantra of today, and I'm not excluding myself from this. Trust me, I've diligently fulfilled the role of the misunderstood teenager. I struggled through my freshman and sophomore years, never really fitting in or clicking with any one specific person or group until I made all those layers of myself to try to please everybody. And even then, I was always on AM when everyone else was on FM, and I felt like I was behind. This school is full of all these beautiful, funny, confident, talented people who seem so much more experienced and desirable than the dorky girl with the long, gawky limbs in the back of class. So, instead of focusing on my inner self like I should have done, I chose to compare my exterior with everyone I saw. And I tried perfecting it through any means possible, even destroying my body with unhealthy methods of weight loss. Eventually, I did turn to my inner self, but I wasn't any more pleased with that. I expected so much of myself, and I wanted to match every good quality about everyone. I wanted to be as put together as the prettiest girl in school. I wanted to be as smart as the smartest kid, as athletic as the best athlete, as kind as the nicest soul. And when I couldn't meet all those standards that I set for myself, I lost all my self-worth and turned to the worst and most destructive methods possible to try to cope. Ultimately, I just lost the avidity for life that I now cherish. The summer after my sophomore year, I basically hit rock bottom, but I was asked by my youth pastor to go on a mission trip to Guatemala with him. Against my better judgment, I went, and I'm so glad I did, because it was there that my life did a 180. One day, I was playing with some of the kids at one of the elementary schools we taught at. I was surrounded by kids coloring and playing soccer while in my broken Spanish. I tried to teach some of them this clapping game we used to play called Boboski Rattentan. It was there, amongst all that innocence and simplicity in that moment, that I realized that the person I was there was who I wanted to be all the time. For the first time in however many years, I caught a glimpse of the wall and layer-free Emily, and I had missed that person. After that, when I got home, I desperately held on to that glimpse. It's been one of the hardest things I've had to do to stop all my unhealthy behaviors and work to better myself. But now I can look back and smile at how far I've come since then. There's still bad days and bad weeks. But now with that glimpse and that memory of who I want to be, it's easier to work towards the hope that one day I can be that person 24/7 as I still continue to try to find myself. And to be honest, that has really pissed some people off. Because the self that I have found is not the people-pleasing, happy-go-lucky Emily they've all grown accustomed to. She's a mess, but I have fought like hell to be where I am and be who I am right now, and I am damn proud of it. So I've learned to take risks, like speaking to you all now, to help with the consequences. Society and your parents and your preachers and teachers and bosses and anyone will try to tell you that you need to be perfect, you need to be all put together, you need to have your life figured out. And I'm here to tell you that that's bull, because it's a myth that everyone knows what they're doing in life. Even now, as a senior, I'm just beginning to have a semblance of a plan for my life, and I'm still just trying to stay above the waves. I'm going to be attending the University of Iowa as an early admissions nursing student next fall. I've repaired relationships with my closest friends, family, and mentors, and I've realized that other people's opinions of me do not matter to me at all, because they do not have to live with the repercussions of the choices I make and the life I live. I do. So this is my farewell to you, to my old self, to this school, and to all I leave behind. Love yourself and embrace your differences. And if you're in a bad situation right now, I promise it's not permanent. You just have to fight through. Take risks and extend compassion towards all the people in your life, because they're either a blessing or a lesson. I was homesick for 18 years, but with where I am right now, with who I am, and with where I'm going, I finally feel like I'm home.